Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with apple pie. Well, actually, not really apple pie because I'm not making the crust, so I guess it's apple filling. But it's still a great thing to learn, great thing to know. And by the way, I apologize for the hoarse voice. This weekend was the Food Buzz Food Blogger Awards where, yes, Food Wishes won Best Video Blog. Thank you very much. So back to the pie. All right, I'm going to take my apples. And I'm going to peel them with a paring knife. Very basic. I don't have any tricks for that. You can use a peeler if you want. I just use a paring knife. Once they're peeled, I cut them in quarters. I take out the core. I'm not a big corer. I don't have one of those things you push through. Actually, I think I do have one, but it's rusty. So I just use a knife. Once the quarters are cut and the center's taken out, I just cut them in like fifths. But I think that's a good size there. I'm using 3 different kinds of apples. That's a trick my mom taught me. Pauline says you want at least 3 kinds of apples in your pie, so check the ingredient list on Food Wishes to see which 3 I used. The flavorings for my pie filling, very, very simple. Some fresh lemon juice. I put that in first, toss everything around. So after we toss with the lemon, I'm going to add my sugar, a little pinch of nutmeg, very small pinch of nutmeg, cinnamon, and the tiniest, just a couple grains of salt. Toss that up. And as soon as the sugar's dissolved and the apples look kind of wet, I'm going to add my cornstarch. I'm going to mix that till everything looks dissolved and there's no visible cornstarch. And that is your basic pie filling. All right, to build the pie, we're going to take a 9-inch pie dish. Deeper the better. And I'm using a pre-made pie crust. And one of these days, yes, I will show you my secret. And by secret, I mean my aunt's pie crust recipe. All right, I'm going to roll that out and place that in the bottom. Make sure it's nice and even. If this is frozen, make sure it's completely thawed so it doesn't crack. Put in your apples, make sure they're packed down, and try to really get them in nice and tight. Pour over your juices, which there will be significant juices. That sugar really draws out the water in the apple. We're going to dot that with butter, unsalted butter. And then the top pie crust, we're going to unroll that, and we're going to put that on top. And we want the top to fit inside the bottom crust. So you see how I'm going around and I'm just tucking the top crust inside the bottom crust? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and roll the bottom crust over the top crust to seal it. So just like that. So once you roll the bottom crust over the top, just keep going around with your fingers and just press it down. No need to get all fancy. Some people use a fork or they crimp it or they make these fancy designs. I'm more of a naturalist. I'm not doing anything too high tech. Just keep pressing it with your fingertips. It looks good. When it bakes, it looks great. All right, now for the traditional cut, we need some air vents. The moisture in the apple has to evaporate out of the pie somewhere. So I'm going to put a little X on top. Then I put 4 long slashes. And then in between those, 4 smaller slashes. That's just my apple pie mark. Everyone should have their own mark. So come up with your own design. That's mine. All right, on a pan with foil, because this will bubble over sometimes, and usually does, with the apple syrup as it bakes. You want to definitely put a pan underneath. To finish, a little egg wash, which is just a beaten egg. So take an egg, beat it, and just brush it over the top crust with a nice dusting of white sugar. That's going to go in a 375-degree oven for an hour, approximately. Could be an hour and 10 minutes, could be 55 minutes. You want the crust nice and brown. It's not really something you're going to be able to overcook the inside of a pie. So as long as the crust is not getting too brown, let it cook. But in about an hour, it's going to look like that. The apples inside are going to be tender. The crust is going to be flaky, golden, and delicious. You're going to let this cool completely, or at least to warm, and then serve it. 1,000 times better than any kind of canned pie filling. Don't buy those. So American. Apple pie. It's as American as Chinese takeout. So again, I apologize for the voice, but did I mention Food Wishes won Best Video Blog 2009 Food Buzz Blog Award. Thank you very much. Anyway, go to the site to get all the ingredients. And as always, enjoy.